My name is Amelia, and if anyone had told me that a simple visit to the sauna one summer afternoon would change my life forever, I wouldn't have believed them. At 38, I had settled into a life of quiet dissatisfaction. Marrying Thomas, a wealthy man almost 20 years older than me, had seemed like the sensible choice. He was charming, successful, and promised the stability my past relationships had lacked. But as the years went on, the spark we once shared faded, overshadowed by his constant business trips and lack of emotional connection. I was left to roam our vast estate alone in a marriage that often felt more like a business arrangement. Make sure to subscribe to my channel so I can continue bringing you more fascinating true stories like this one. Don't forget to watch this video till the end and like the video, because this story is going to be incredibly interesting. Please hit the like button to show your support. Then there was Ethan, Thomas's son from his first marriage. At 22, Ethan was everything his father wasn't. He was youthful, energetic, and remarkably insightful. After finishing college, he had moved back home, claiming it was to save money before beginning his career. But I had a feeling there was more to his return than he let on. Ethan had a magnetic energy that made it impossible to ignore his presence, whether it was his sharp humor, the easy confidence in his smile, or the way his deep blue eyes seemed to see right through me. He was captivating, and despite my best efforts to keep things proper, as his stepmother, the undeniable tension between us grew stronger every day. It was one of those oppressively hot summer days, when the house felt suffocatingly quiet. Thomas was away again, leaving Ethan and me alone. I spent the morning cleaning rooms that didn't need cleaning and flipping through books I had no interest in. By the afternoon, the heat was unbearable, and I remembered the sauna by the pool house, a part of the estate I rarely used. I slipped on a light robe and walked to the sauna. The cedar-scented air surrounded me, and the quiet hum of the heating unit eased my restless thoughts. I closed my eyes and let the warmth soak into my skin, hoping the solitude would calm me. Minutes passed until I heard the door slide open. I opened my eyes to see Ethan walking in, a towel wrapped around his waist. "I didn't know anyone else used this thing," he said casually, a slight smirk tugging at his lips. "What are you doing here?" I responded, more sharply than I intended. "I could ask you the same thing." He leaned against the wall. "I thought you didn't like saunas." "I don't," I admitted. "But today is an exception." He shrugged and sat down on the bench opposite me. His presence filled the small space. We sat in silence, the heat amplifying the quiet tension between us. After a while, Ethan broke the silence. "Are you okay?" he asked, his voice softer than usual. I hesitated. "Why do you ask?" "You've seemed off lately," he said. "Like something's bothering you." "It's nothing," I lied, hoping to divert his concern. "Is it my dad?" he pressed, his tone filled with genuine care. "You don't have to pretend with me, Amelia. I can see it." His honesty caught me off guard. "He's always gone," I admitted softly. "Sometimes it feels like I don't even exist to him anymore." Ethan leaned closer, his expression serious. "You deserve more than that. You deserve to be seen, to be appreciated." His words sent a shiver down my spine despite the heat. I looked away, unsure how to respond. Then I felt his hand gently rest on mine. His touch was light, but reassuring. "You're not alone," he said quietly. The heat in the sauna seemed to intensify, though I knew it wasn't just the temperature. Ethan's presence stirred something complicated inside me, both comforting and unsettling. I should have pulled away. I should have said something to remind us of the boundaries between us. But I didn't. Instead, I looked into his eyes, those intense blue eyes that usually held a playful spark, but now seemed deeper, more vulnerable. It felt like he could see right through the role I played as Thomas's wife, to the woman I truly was underneath. Ethan, I whispered, my voice trembling. He leaned a little closer, still holding my hand. You don't have to say anything, he murmured. I know this is complicated. But I can't ignore how I feel when I'm with you. His words hung in the air between us. My heart raced as I tried to think of a response, but nothing came. All I could do was sit there, caught in the magnetic pull of the moment. Before I could stop myself, I whispered, this isn't right. But it feels real, he countered gently, his voice steady. Doesn't it? I hated how much I agreed with him. The emotional warmth between us was stronger than the heat of the sauna. He leaned in closer, his face just inches from mine. I see you, Amelia, he whispered. Not as my father's wife, but as the incredible woman you are. And I can't pretend I don't. His words were the last barrier. Without thinking, I closed the small gap between us. The kiss was soft and hesitant at first, testing the boundaries of what we both knew was complicated and wrong. But as the moment deepened, all restraint melted away. For the first time in years, I felt truly seen, desired for who I was, and alive in a way I had almost forgotten. The world outside the wooden walls of the sauna no longer existed. There were no rules, no roles, just the two of us caught in a quiet, powerful connection. When we finally pulled apart, both of us were breathing heavily, the weight of what had just happened settling over us. Nothing would ever be the same again. The kiss deepened as we both gave into the emotions we had kept buried for so long. Time seemed to stand still while the outside world faded away. For the first time in years, I allowed myself to feel without fear or judgment. Then the soft creaking of the sauna door brought us sharply back to reality. We froze, our breaths mingling as we listened intently. After a tense moment, it became clear no one was there. But the interruption reminded us of the complicated line we were crossing. We should, I began, but Ethan stopped me gently with a finger to my lips. No regrets, Amelia, he said, his voice firm but tender. In that moment, I realized I didn't regret the connection we had shared, not the honesty, not the emotions we had finally allowed ourselves to feel. For once, I had felt truly alive. But even as we gathered ourselves, the weight of what had just happened lingered between us. This moment had opened a door we couldn't easily close, and the consequences were still to come. The silence as we left the sauna was heavy, yet it spoke volumes. The tension in the air wasn't from awkwardness, but from the gravity of what had transpired. Ethan walked beside me, his hand occasionally brushing against mine, as though unsure whether to reach for it or keep his distance. Back inside the house, the world continued as if nothing monumental had happened. But every glance and small movement between us carried an undeniable charge. I excused myself under the pretense of checking my phone and retreated to the privacy of my bedroom. Closing the door behind me, I leaned against it and exhaled a breath I hadn't realized I was holding. My mind raced, replaying every moment, Ethan's gaze, the intensity of his presence, the fire that refused to die within me. How had this happened? My stepson, so much younger, had awakened something in me that I thought was long buried. Guilt began to creep in, gnawing at my thoughts, but it was mixed with a strange sense of liberation. This wasn't just complicated. It was dangerous. A soft knock on the door startled me. Amelia. Ethan's voice was low and hesitant. I hesitated, my hand hovering over the handle, before opening it. Ethan stood there, his hair slightly disheveled, his expression filled with concern and quiet longing. Are you okay? He asked, stepping inside. I nodded, though I wasn't sure it was true. I just need a moment to think. He took a step closer, his presence filling the room. What happened? It was real, he said firmly. It wasn't just a fleeting moment. You felt it too. I couldn't deny it. The connection was undeniable. But that didn't make it right. We have to be careful, I said, my voice trembling. Your father. My father doesn't see you, Ethan interrupted, his tone sharp. He's so consumed with work and his life outside this house. You deserve more than being an afterthought. His words stung, and the loneliness I had been feeling for years surged to the surface. I found myself moving closer to him, instinctively seeking comfort. Ethan, I whispered. His hands gently cupped my face. I don't care about what's right or wrong right now, he said, his eyes locking onto mine. I care about you. Before I could respond, he kissed me again. This kiss was different, deeper, more desperate, as if we both understood how fragile this moment was. I pulled away breathlessly, my hands resting on his chest. Ethan, this can't be our reality, I said, my voice shaking. We have to be careful. He nodded, but determination burned in his eyes. I'm not ready to let this end, Amelia. I can't. The days that followed were filled with stolen moments and quiet confessions. We navigated a fine line between secrecy and discovery, careful not to raise suspicion. Ethan found reasons to linger at the house, offering to help with chores or making excuses to spend time together. Every encounter was charged with tension. Our glances lingered, and the intensity of what we shared only grew, along with the risk. One evening as I prepared dinner, Ethan walked into the kitchen. He stood behind me, his presence overwhelming. Can I help with anything? He asked, his voice soft. I turned to face him, my heart racing. Ethan, we can't keep doing this, I said, though my resolve was weakening. He looked at me steadily. Then tell me to leave, Amelia. Tell me you don't feel the same way, and I'll walk away. I couldn't bring myself to say it. Then, one quiet evening that felt deceptively safe, everything changed. Ethan and I were sitting in the living room. Soft candlelight filled the space, and the atmosphere between us was warm and intimate. We spoke about ordinary things, his university assignments, the weather, weekend plans, but the way he looked at me made even the most trivial conversation feel meaningful. Suddenly the front door opened. Thomas stepped into the entryway, his coat thrown over his arm. Time seemed to freeze. His eyes narrowed as they scanned the scene, Ethan sitting too close to me, the candles, the quiet atmosphere. What's going on here? Thomas's voice was sharp, cutting through the tension. Ethan stiffened beside me. I scrambled to my feet, my heart pounding. Thomas, I didn't think you'd be home so early, I said, my voice shaky. That much is clear, he replied, his tone laced with suspicion. His eyes darted between us. It's not what it looks like, Ethan said, standing as well, though his words felt hollow. Thomas's expression darkened. Then tell me what's going on, Ethan. Because from where I'm standing, it looks like something is happening between my wife and my son. The words hung in the air, heavy with accusation. Thomas, please, I began, but he cut me off. Don't, he snapped. Don't lie to me, Amelia. I'm not an idiot. Ethan stepped forward, his jaw set. You're right. Something is happening. My breath caught. Ethan, no, I whispered, but it was too late. Thomas's face turned red with fury. He took a step toward Ethan, but I quickly moved between them. Stop. Both of you. Just stop. I shouted. This is my fault. All of it. Don't blame Ethan. Thomas glared at me, a mixture of betrayal and disbelief in his eyes. You're damn right it's your fault, he spat. I trusted you, Amelia. I brought you into this house, made you part of this family, and this is how you repay me. Tears welled up in my eyes, but I refused to let them fall. You've been absent, Thomas, I said, my voice breaking. You've been so consumed with work and everything outside this house that I felt invisible for years. I made a mistake, a terrible mistake, but don't pretend you're blameless in this. Thomas looked stunned. Ethan reached for my hand, his touch grounding me. Don't talk to her like that, Ethan said firmly. You've ignored her. She deserves better. Thomas turned on his son, anger flaring. And you think you're better? You think you can step in and play the hero? The argument escalated, accusations flying. I stood between them, my heart breaking as the two people I cared about tore into each other. Finally, I couldn't take it anymore. Stop! I screamed, my voice cracking. This is over. All of it. Both men fell silent, staring at me. I'm leaving, I said, my voice barely a whisper. This family is broken, and it's my fault. I can't stay here and make it worse. Ethan looked devastated. Amelia, don't. I have to, I said firmly, pulling away. This isn't right, Ethan. It never was. Thomas said nothing, his face a mask of anger and hurt. I walked to the bedroom, my heart heavy, and packed my things. Tears streamed down my face, but I knew it was the only choice. When I left that night, I didn't look back. I moved into a small apartment across town, starting over in a life that felt both liberating and lonely. Ethan tried to reach out, messages, voicemails, but I couldn't respond. Thomas filed for divorce soon after, citing irreconcilable differences. The rift between father and son seemed irreversible. I thought about Ethan often, the intensity of what we shared and the heavy consequences of our actions. It was a bittersweet memory that would stay with me forever. Some choices leave scars that never fully heal. But they also teach us who we are. In the end, I had to let go of Ethan, not because the connection wasn't real, but because loving him had nearly destroyed everything.